this franchise gets more and more confusing. Cube Zero is a prequel to the first two movies. And I say prequel because it just makes no sense if it's a prequel. It just makes no sense. How do I even sum this up? A group of people are in a cube. There are two technicians. One of them is feeling guilty about this and decides to go and help them, like towards the end of the film. The other one is against this, but then later turns when one of the boss guys come in with his two other technician guys and look, this franchise should have stayed one movie. Okay? I'm telling you right now. Everything they've tried to do to expand this world is making me see the first movie in a different, worse light. Like I said in my review for the second one, that if there are people monitoring them and watching what's going on, then that changes my point of view on the first film. Really? Because at the end of the last one, when the lady got through, she survived, she made it through, and immediately she's shot. Right? And so what does that say about Kazan in the first one? He gets out. Is he then shot right away? Is he safe? You know? And let's go ahead and talk about the big elephant in the room. This cannot be a prequel. Now you may say, oh, but look at how the thing looks. There is nothing in this movie that suggests this is a prequel. There's no connectivity to anything. There's one little Easter egg at the end. Other than that, there's no connectivity. There's nothing mentioned of anything from the first film. If you are doing a prequel, you need to have it be a setup to the first film. You cannot just say, oh, this just takes place before the first film. It has nothing to do with it. I hate that. Why is it even a prequel if it doesn't set up things, right? All it does is give us more information about these people watching them, and it feels like it's a different place, even different than the ones in the second film. There's no mention of Izon by name, and the guy that comes down to control the situation is out of a fucking cartoon. This guy, Jax, he's got a mechanical eye, which is one of the things why I think this can't be a prequel. It's too futuristic. The room that the two technicians are sitting in seems like something out of a sci-fi film, like a science fiction film set in the future. Some of the stuff they have there seems very futuristic. The mechanical eye that he has, and later, this soldier guy, we'll just call him Simon Quentin 2.0. Simon Quentin 2.0, because he's basically Quentin from the first film and a Simon from the first film. He seems all right, and then they reveal to us that all soldiers in this universe have chips in the back of their head. Huh? That's too futuristic. There's no way this is a prequel. It cannot be a prequel. And before you sit there and say, Scotty, the first two are also supposed to be in the future. No. Fuck no. No, they're not. Everything from the first film, the way that people talk about their lives and what they did, are very much of that time and place, 1997. In the second film, I'm bringing this up, Max declares that his theory is that they're all on a game show being videotaped. If this is the future, he wouldn't say videotaped. Okay? No, I refuse to believe that. The first film takes place in 97. The second film takes place in 2003, when the movies came out. So this one is a prequel and has to take place in the early 90s or the late 80s. There was no technology like what they show in this movie in those times. So, this is not a fucking prequel. Okay? And the more they delve into what goes on behind the scenes, the more and more I get pissed. if there are people watching them do this stuff, when Jax comes in with his two men, I'm going to talk about the cast in a minute, but when it comes in with his two men, they are purposely now rigging stuff so that they can't win. Doesn't that go against... And if, by the end, Jax gets a phone call telling him to wipe the whole thing. Kill everyone, wipe it, get rid of it. What is the point? What is the fucking point of even having the cube if you're not waiting to see if one of them gets out? It makes no sense to me. None at all. Before I have a myocardial infarction, let's talk about the cast, okay? Because as someone who grew up watching Canadian TV shows, this one tickled my funny bone a little bit. The guy who plays Haskell, the aforementioned cyborg soldier guy, he played Abner T. Hall on Aaron Stone. He's been in other things, but I remember him from that one. He was in the episode of Goosebumps, you know. When Jax comes in, he has two technicians of his own. One of them, Quigley, was on Supernatural. I don't know the actor's name, but the other one, Finn, is played by Josh Peace, who was Jake's older brother Tom on Animorphs. We also get a cameo from Tony Munch as Owen. I actually found out on Wikipedia that he's on there. He's been in a lot of Canadian shows. Strange Days at Halsey High, the famous Jack Jackson, Degrassi. He's been in stuff. So, yeah, this is the one that seems the most Canadian TV movie to me. Like, it's something like a weekly series on the Sci-Fi Channel in 2005, which is when this came out. It seems very much like that. It has that budget, you know. Honestly, though, the first scene of this movie had hopes. There's this guy, I think he's Russian. He gets hit with this liquid that he thinks is water, like flavored water. He's like, water. But then he starts to melt. His skin melts. It's gory. It's great. And then the rest of the movie happens. From there, we go straight to the two technicians. It's like, oh, okay, we're doing more behind the scenes bullshit that we don't need to do, right? And here's another thing. A prequel is supposed to be before the events of the first film. Something you're supposed to be able to watch before the first film is supposed to connect. If we are watching behind the scenes shit in the movie that's supposed to take place before the first one, what's the point of watching the first one? The first one has that intrigue. You don't know anything. So a prequel should have that same mystery and intrigue. By showing us behind the scenes shit and how things go and who these people are controlling it, why are you putting this in a prequel? It's not necessary to do that. And like I said, fuck it. This is not a prequel. Cube Zero is actually a sequel. I don't care about the Zero. It's Cube 3, for God's fucking sake. This is not a sequel. It cannot be. There's nothing else in this to indicate that it's a prequel. Nothing. Nothing at all. There's nothing. There's nothing. Alright? Now, like I said, once Jax comes in with his two minions, they start to mess with things. So, this movie uses letters instead of numbers, which is fucking stupid because there's only 26 letters in the alphabet and an infinite amount of numbers out there. But, no, we're gonna put letters because we're creative. Like, you're fucking stupid. It makes no sense. At all. It makes no sense at all. And then, you know, once Gwyn gets in there, he can now help them because he knows how to navigate the letters. So, of course, let's melt all the letters off. And then he says, we have to find the one that's AZZ. And they find it. They melted all the letters off, but he still finds... Here, this one, AZZ. How do you know that? So it's clear that they put Win in there and then they realized they wrote themselves into a corner, so he melted off the letters. But then they realize, he still has to find that door. So let's just have him find it. Even though it makes no sense that he finds it. Wynn and Reigns, not Roman Reigns, but the female character, who's looking for her daughter. They do a thing where everyone has amnesia, which makes no sense because that never happened to any of the other ones. But they have amnesia for some reason. I don't know. Why? What is world? I don't know. I don't know. They escape because they get to the thing. So Wynn and Dodd are the two technicians, and Wynn eventually goes into the cube to help them. Dodd eventually has a change of heart too, and sabotages Jax and his two guys. Jax figures it out, kills Dodd, because everyone who has a redemption arc has to die, because fuck it. And Wynn helps Reigns escape. Apparently, when what Dodd did was create a reset, and when it resets, eventually the thing goes back to zero position, which that could be the name of the movie, Cube Zero Position, and it's a fucking sequel, not a prequel. Just do that. Maybe the zero in the title is for Zero Position, and it's not actually a prequel. Huh? I don't know. Everyone calls it a prequel, but it's not a prequel. It's a sequel. Fuck it. Anyway, I'm sorry I'm swearing so much, but this movie pissed me off. So they escape, and it goes underwater for some reason. And then there's a bunch of soldiers out there following through the woods, because it's the woods that they showed earlier in Reigns' dream. She's looking for her daughter. Wynn gets tranked, but Reigns is able to escape thanks to Wynn. But Wynn gets taken in, and apparently he's been signed up to go into the cube, even though he doesn't remember doing it. But it's his signature, right? It looks just like his signature. Forgery is a thing, you know. But they lobotomize him. And as they're lobotomizing him, he has a dream of Reigns and her daughter being safe in the woods somewhere. Why they're still in the woods, I don't know. Just go back to the city. You could blow the whistle on this whole fucking thing, but you're gonna live in the woods with your daughter? No, we can't make noise because they'll find us. Just leave! Go! Back to your normal life. I don't know. But one final middle finger to anyone who liked the first one. Wynn begins to act very familiar. This room is green. I want to go back to the blue room. This room's green. I want to go back to the blue room. Yeah, he's acting like fucking Kazan. Which now implies that Kazan was not autistic, but that he was lobotomized, and that's why he acted mentally challenged. They just keep digging it deeper. Fuck this movie. Fry in hell. This movie fry in hell. I don't care. One thing after another makes it worse and worse and worse and worse. And people have the they say this is better than the second one. No. The second one had some fun ideas, but they didn't shit all over the original. By retconning a bunch of shit, showing more of the behind the scenes with the people controlling it. Now, keeping the first one in its own little box, its own little cube, mind you, and ignoring the sequels. Sequels. It's not a prequel. Ignoring the sequels. Yes, there was a thought that while they were doing everything in that one, someone could be watching. But you never knew that. It was left up to your imagination. Also, what happened to Kazan at the end of that was also left up to your imagination. But now that these two fucking sequels have shat all over that mystery, we now know, yes, there was someone watching. And as soon as Kazan left, boom, he was shot. Or taken somewhere and put in another trap or something. Because no one gets out of this. The sequels have ruined the mystery, the magic and mystery of the first one completely. So now, every time I watch the first movie, all I'm going to think about is, so who's watching? What's going on? You know, they say that the traps are motion censored, but what if someone's actually pushing a button? My Xbox just turned off? Hold on. Kazan at the end, you know, oh, he made it out. Like, was he shot right afterwards? Did they throw him back in? Oh, by the way, what also could have happened was what we've shown here with Owen. Because Owen gets out. He goes through the white light, much like Kazan, and he ends up in this place where he's got to answer a question. The question is, do you believe in God? He says no. And when they hit no, he gets incinerated. So think of this. Kazan walks through the light. He gets asked if he believes in God. He's lobotomized, so he won't understand it, and they just hit no anyway. I know he was like a autistic savant or whatever, but I don't know. Also, if you wanted to do this ending, now that I'm thinking about it, as much as this movie fucking sucks, if you want to do this ending, do it right. Actually have him be Kazan. Think about it. He was employed by this place. We'll call it Izon, whatever. He was employed by them. So, in order to keep it off the books, they'd have to change his name. They give him a new jumpsuit. It says Kazan. He's put in there, and he's found... The dialogue is verbatim the same as in the first movie, but it's a black lady saying it. If you just cast people similar looking, right? Or even just have a disembodied voice as he's talking and have a hand come up and not show the face, you know? You could have imagination that Win is Kazan. I know the actor doesn't look like him, but, you know, they shave his head, be like mine, you know, because Kazan had short hair then, and they rename him Kazan. I don't know. It's also a stupid fucking ending, but I think it would have worked better as a setup for a prequel. I also would have called bullshit because this is clearly not a prequel. But yeah, this movie fries in hell. Fuck it. I don't want to ever watch this movie again. In fact, I know I'm a completionist and a whore, and eventually, a long, long time from now, I might try to buy the other two movies. But I don't know what the purpose is, because even in some of the bad franchises, I like watching some of the bad sequels. I never want to watch either of these. Well, actually, I'd rather watch Cube 2 over Cube 0. So if anything, I'll buy Cube 2. But maybe even not. I don't want to waste my money. I really don't want to watch either of them. But if I'm forced to choose between the two, I want to watch Cube 2. But I just want to watch the first one again. The first one was great. It was fantastic. Miles ahead of these two fucking pieces of shit. Okay, this one's a piece of shit. But the second one is just a turd, I guess. It was fine to a certain point, and then this one, the opening was good. And then as soon as I audibly groaned. Because the first time, okay, this looks pretty good. And then they showed these technicians, and I went, we're still doing this shit, really? Really? I mean, why? I said this before, this is a prequel. This means if prequels should be designed to be able to watch them before the first film. But a lot of the times, they sneak in Easter eggs. That works. This says straight up that this is supposed to be a prequel, but we're just going behind the curtain right away. How can you watch, if this was, meant to be a prequel, How can you watch this and then the first one? It makes no sense. And like I said, this ain't a fucking prequel. It's the third film in this series. It's too futuristic to be a third film. And like I said earlier, the first film took place in 97. The second one in 2003. You're not changing my mind on that. They took place in the years they fucking came out. Okay? There is too much of the dialogue that is modern day. You know? All the exchanges that the characters in the first film have seem very modern day of 1997. Likewise, within 2003, Max says videotaped. And they talk about game shows. They talk about video game programmers. They talk about modern day stuff. And this, it just seems very futuristic. There's not mention of anything about it other than Reigns is an activist. I'm still going on about this fucking movie. Look, Fry in Hell, it sucks. It's a piece of shit. Don't watch it. Unless you want to go through this franchise. But I'm warning you, just watch the first one. It's the best one. Even watch the second one. But don't watch this. It's a piece of shit. Watch my review, but don't watch this movie. Okay? I'm done. Moving on. There's some better films. Collect their movies. Which there should be 3, but fuck it. Anyway, thank you for watching. What are your thoughts on this piece of shit movie? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. This movie's a piece of shit. I'll see you. It's a piece of shit, though. Did you know? Piece of shit? Yeah.